We've got something to talk about, don't we? Something serious.
Oh,
Something that's really grinded my gears. Like, legit grinded my gears. I really like this person. Like, I really enjoy the message
we like him.
he's trying to push through. His name, I think his name's Kanga or something like that. He's like, I think is he like half Aboriginal or full Aboriginal? I don't know. Aboriginal. Indigenous.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what the correct terms are nowadays, but an Indigenous Australian. And he was on a podcast, but basically this guy's vibe is all about, how to put it, basically uniting white fellas and black fellas. Like,
Love it.
we gotta, we gotta move on. We gotta be, we're
Yes.
Australian. Let's move on. But then I came across this video, and I got triggered hard. I must admit, I was just like, I don't like this message at all. So basically, the
Mm,
premise that this lad was doing was that he asked these guys who were, I think they were interviewing him, and they were talking about themselves, and then he asked them directly, "Were your parents born in Australia?" And they're like,
mm,
"Nah." And he just goes, "Well, you're not Aussies." And they're like, "What?" And he started explaining
mm,
it because, you're not either. Basically, his idea was you either need to be like white from back in the day, like settler white, or
mm,
indigenous to be considered a true Aussie. And I was
mm,
there and I was legit fuming. And I'm like, fuck you, man. You do not tell me
mm.
how Australian I am versus you are. I don't give a shit. I am as Australian as they come. Like that was my instant reaction where I'm just like, nah. I'm like, we're both obviously have a Mauritian background, but like I consider
Mm.
myself like Australian as they come.
Same.
Like,
Same.
I if
Yep.
someone asked me on the street, I wouldn't say Mauritian. I'd be like, I'm Australian, and then
Yeah.
and they're like, but what is that? You don't. Where you from?
Yes.
That old
Yes,
question.
yes. Yeah, we do get that. Yeah.
Yeah,
Where are
and
you really from?
mm, yeah, and I'm always guess, and no one guesses me ever. I think we've talked about this
I
before.
didn't guess you.
No, no.
Mm.
Anyway, so I got pretty angry with that whole premise for this guy to just straight up say I'm not Aussie, and I was like, no, I'm Australian. It was just one person's opinion. I was so offended.
Mm.
I'm like, fuck you, man. I am Australian.
I I'm trying to remember because you did send me the clip.
Mm.
What was his justification for such a strong stance, such a strong point of view, such a black and white?
That's all I heard. That's all I heard. And I turned it off after that. I'm like, yeah,
No, I listened to the whole thing and he did explain, but unfortunately I've forgotten. But he did have a compelling argument or a compelling point of view. I don't know that I agree with it. I'd like someone who has an opinion or a point of view like that. I would actually love to get in a room with someone like that and say, "Can you extrapolate on that for me? Because I don't understand why it's such a narrow. You're either Indigenous or you're a settler. That is the criteria for being an Australian.
mm.
Well, that cancels out. I don't know what percentage of
Uh,
our nation's
there's
population.
about 6% of Australia, 3% Indigenous, and then 3% settler.
Everybody else.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
For me, I consider myself an Australian as well.
yeah, and
Proudly.
I think, and there's I think there's a truth in saying that there are people who, uh, I'm trying to figure out how to say this,
Hmm.
but there are people who come to Australia and don't consider themselves Australian. Like they take all the things that Australia is great for and have a
Mm,
lack of gratitude for the things that they have, and almost like disrespect it, like, and you know, and
Oh,
I don't get that as well. Like, well, if you don't like, I'm gonna say it. If you don't like it that much, you know what you can do. You can go.
yes.
Like, I
You
don't
don't
want to say
have to be
you don't
here.
have to be here. You don't have to. No one's forcing you to be here. So, and exactly, what are you complaining about? Like, I don't get it.
I think for me, with that sort of people that migrate to Australia and
Mm.
have that kind of attitude, for me, I find that triggering because I know what your parents, you, other people's, not even just Mauritians. I've got other friends. I've got Greek friends. I've got um, lots of different European friends. Okay, and the parents
All those
came.
people.
They Yeah, the parents European, we'll
Yeah,
say,
yeah.
right? Asian parents came here and they worked their asses off.
Mm,
They work so hard.
mm.
And some cultures came here and they were like doctors and professors in their country, and they come here and they have accepted work, employment at a much lower
Yeah, their
qualification
qualifications not
level
accepted here.
than what they
Yeah.
were, but they're doing it.
Mm,
But they're still doing it. And
mm.
I have like just enormous respect for that. And so what I'm saying is, like, I get a little bit triggered when we're talking about individuals, and we're not talking about any specific race. We're talking about any individual that comes to a country and is so
Yeah.
willing
Anyway,
to benefit
nice.
of the privilege, but then has a problem with it. What?
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense at all,
What?
doesn't it?
None.
And I just can't get over how people flippantly call out how racist Australia is, and I'm just like, what are you talking about? Like, legitimately, what are you talking about? Like, it makes no sense to me at all. I'm like, have you been to, like, I don't know, India? It's got like a caste
Oh,
system.
yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like,
Yes.
that's racism.
I don't know what Mauritius is like now,
Yeah.
but I tell you, back in my dad's day, I'm sure I've said it on the podcast before. My dad was told by his grandma, by his family,
Hmm.
to, to not go out into the sun. He had to, like, on a sunny day, not every day is sunny in Mauritius, he had to sit under a tree.
I've told you that wedding story uh, about my dad's uncles, right? Have I told you that story?
I'm sure you go tell it.
Yeah. So like I think our culture is steeped in pretty much racism, like because it's such a culturally diverse nation. Like it's a melting pot of cultures, black, white, you know.
So we're talking about Mauritius here.
Yeah, yeah, Mauritius, right?
Yep,
So, and my
yep.
dad's uncle's generation were people born in the 20s, maybe 10s, 20s, 1910s, 1920s.
Mhm.
And, you know, I think one of them was getting married. And again, to put this in perspective, my dad's family, again, he's a family of five brothers, the full rainbow of colour. My dad's in the middle. You got the
Yes.
black and you got the white, and he's
Yeah,
brown,
yeah. That was my grandma's. My grandma was one of nine, and that was my grandma. Yeah,
like full
yeah,
rainbow.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Full rainbow.
And that was likewise with his dad's family. His dad was a lighter guy, but he had an uncle who was dark and an uncle who was white. Now the uh, the white brother was getting married. He was a young guy, didn't have much money, so he asked his black brother if he could borrow his suit to get married. And of course, being his brother, he said, oh, of course, no problems. You can borrow my suit,
Mm,
the black brother said. And
mm.
then the white brother did invite him to his wedding because he's black. I'm just like, fuck, man, that is the most racist shit I've ever heard. And it was your own brother. I'm like, holy crap. And then people call out racism now, and it's like, that was a dude doing it to his own brother.
Own brother.
and you're going to be like, oh, someone said something that's racist. I'm like, no, that is not racism. That is someone being mean or misunderstand what.
That is brutal.
Yeah, right. I remember when my
That
dad
is
told me that story, I was
brutal.
like, that is the weirdest fucking thing I've ever heard.
That makes me want to cry. Like,
Mm.
that is, you know how we were talking about in our culture, when we go back epigenetically, there's a lot of self-hatred
Mm.
in our community. Not across the board, but it exists. I mean, that's an example right there.
Mm.
It's like you don't want to advertise the fact that your brother is darker
He probably
to
had,
the
he probably had nothing against him, but yeah, it was that perception of, in a wider group, that you have dark family members. Like, it was almost like an embarrassment thing.
Yeah.
Mm.
Well, that's what I'm saying about my dad standing under a tree. Little kid wasn't allowed to go play.
Yeah.
And he's light. He's light skin brown, my dad. My dad's lighter than my mum.
Yeah, yeah.
My dad's like your colouring.
Mm.
It's sad, man. Poor kid. Doesn't that make you like, oh...
Oh, man, he was a mean old man too, the black guy. Like, he was probably scarred for that for life.
Maybe that was the reason why.
He's a piece of shit. Oh.
Or we'll just pretend it's because he's mean, but really, it's because he's black.
But yeah, like, even like learning about like historical stuff, like, it wasn't till late, like, I legit found out about why my dad really came to Australia. It's like, because you never really ask these questions because you don't think about these things when you're like growing up. And then I was like, I remember, like,
It's your dad. It's just your dad.
Yeah, but like, I was like, because I kind of like, after a while, I was like, fuck yeah, my dad was like, what, 22 or something like that when he came to Australia on a boat.
Yeah.
Without any, like, you didn't have the internet, probably didn't even have pamphlets. It was like, oh, I'm going to go on this boat, travel for like 7 days, and then land at some country that I have no idea what it's like, and then start a life.
And then start a life.
Yeah. Like, so just even contextualizing that, I was like, God, it was so hard moving to northern New South Wales. I miss my family.
You've got the internet. You went there by plane. Like, different. So did it take like 7 days?
Yeah, I think it's something like
for the OGs to get here.
The Queen Elizabeth. I call it a boat. It was a ship, but it's funny to call it a boat. So.
Oh, well, you've got to call it a boat. They're off the boaters.
But
my parents call it the boat. They don't call it a ship.
Batter.
That's
But like, I remember asking him exactly why, and he's like, "Yeah, dude. Like, back when I was young, Mauritius was going through like this weird cultural revolution, and there was big fights between, like, I hate to be the person to point this out, but there was big fights because of the Islamic uprising, and they were out there killing motherfuckers, and he had a few of his friends who were killed, and he's like, I don't want to live here anymore, so he left. He's like, I don't want to be part of this anymore, and he left, and he escaped.